Hey folks, this is Rob with MTG Investor, and we're finishing up with my Dragons of Tarkir. Uh, well, technically it's still the spoiler, but all the cards have been spoiled at this point. So we're looking at the last set that I'm going to take a look at, and they're the white cards, the last of the white cards that I haven't already covered as individual cards. And the first one I'm going to look at here is Dragon Hunter. It's a 2/1 for 1 white. It's a human warrior, uncommon card, protection from dragons, and Dragon Hunter can block dragons as though it had reach. This is such a cool card, man. Back in the day, way back in the day when I was a young man, all we had was a Savannah Lion, a 2/1 for a white, and that was it. Now, you guys are spoiled. And that was a rare. This is an uncommon. It's a 2/1 for a white. It has protection from dragons. It can block giant, enormous dragons and not die. And it can block as though it had reach. Well, it can block dragons as though it had reach anyway. But you guys get really cool Savannah Lions these days. I got the crappy ones that had no flavor. They basically just laid on the savannah and ate things. Anyway, this is a dollar card right now, which is a pretty decent for an uncommon to be at the dollar mark. Well, if it's a good uncommon, that's reasonable, but most uncommons are 25 cent, 50 cent. So short term, I think this is going to be a dollar card, unless dragons just become so uber playable in the format, which I don't see happening. Then you could see a bigger one. But long range, I see this as a $2 to $3 card. Cards that commonly get overlooked when sets are out are uncommon cards, and those go anywhere from $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, or hey, look at Force of Will. That's an uncommon. Yeah, I know that's an exception, but it is uncommon. So, but Force of Wills were. Funny thing about Force of Will, for those of you that played way back when Alliances came out, Force of Will was a dollar card, and I used to go to the card shop and I would buy. Like, the guy would open a box and he would take all the rares out, and all the commons and uncommons from the box he would sell for $10. So I would buy all the commons and uncommons. I would buy 1 to 2 boxes, depending on the set. If it's a big set, I'd have to buy 2 boxes to get a play set, 4 of each of every common and uncommon. If it was something small like Homelands, then I don't need to buy like 1 box probably. But anyway, Force of Wills were $1. He pulled Force of Wills out and he was selling them for $1. And I was like, what? A whole dollar for an uncommon? That's crazy. And I didn't buy them. I busted packs of Alliances until I got my 4. But anyway, I just thought it was a funny story. Sorry. But $2 to $3 long range for this guy, because he might see some EDH play. I don't know if he'll be a crazy EDH staple, but he's just cool. I think he's just a really flavorful card that'll have appeal to players down the road. They'll be like, oh, Dragon Hunter. Just the idea of being a Dragon Hunter, that he's got protection from dragons. That's just really cool, I think. So, anyway, long term, $2-3. So let's take a look at our next card. Next card, Battle Mastery. A white and 2 enchantment. It's an uncommon. Also, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has double strike. I wrestled a little bit with what cards to put on here, what cards to leave off, because right now we're looking at uncommon cards, and you're like, why are we looking at uncommons? Why are we looking at rares? Because I think it's interesting that this guy's a 25 cent card, and I think that's the full price I have on there, 25 cents, the pre-sale price right now. But I think this might have some play. I don't know if this is going to get played in Blue-White Heroic. I mean, there's really so many great cards that came out of this set and the last set for Blue-White Heroic, and it's just a plethora of riches for Blue-White Heroic on what cards to choose. There's the I don't think I have it in this list right now that we're going to look at, but there's a common. I think it's a common. It's a white, and it's an enchantment. An enchanted creature gets +1/+3, and when it comes into play, it taps a creature. That seems like a frickin' brutally good card for Blue-White Heroic. I didn't put on here because it's really just, specifically for that deck, but it could be played in Boggles. Also, it could be played in Infect, perhaps. I'm not sure about that one, but anyway, I think this might be a $1 to $2 foil card in the future. It might get played in Effect. It might get played in Boggles. I'm not sure. But the card that it reminds me of is Fatal Frenzy, which is a red and 2 instant that gives your creature +X+0, where +X is the creature's power, and then you sacrifice it at the end of the turn. But this guy just gets double strike, bam. And so, if you can get some fulls of these cheap, just get them, stick them away in a box, and forget about them. And then maybe one day you'll wake up and they'll be worth something. Alright, so let's look at this guy here. Myth Realized. It's an enchantment. It's a rare. 1 white to cast it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a lore counter on Myth Realized. For a white and 2, you can pump a lore counter onto Myth Realized. For a white, you can activate until end of turn. Myth Realized becomes a monk avatar creature in addition to its other types and gains this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lore counters on it. It's $4 right now as a pre-release. As a card that hasn't been released yet, let me put it that way. And short term, I really think it's about a $2 card, but long term, this is just a really interesting card. I don't know what decks this is going to get played in. Could it be played in a Constellation deck? Could it be played in a combo deck? I don't know. It's really cool that you could play blue-white control in, say, Modern or something, or heck, even Legacy. I don't know. There's so many non-creature spells in Legacy and in Modern, if you wanted, that you could just throw this guy out there turn 1, and then if you're playing Legacy, you could get your Tundra, play this guy, still have mana up. I mean, not mana, but still days, and then bam, you're adding a counter right to this guy. All the brainstorming and pondering and manipulation. You could play blue-white control right now. Anticipate, dig through time, all these great non-creature. I mean, just look at blue-black control. It only runs like 1 to 2 creatures. So basically, every spell in that deck is going to pump this guy. So you could be swinging like, you don't even have to worry about him. If he gets killed, he gets killed. So what? But if not, then this guy grows to be humongous very quickly. So that's probably why it's a $4 card, because it just looks cool. I really like that card. So for a long-term investment, I want you to pay attention. I have it as 2+. So don't bank on it being something great long-term. It's probably going to be a $1 to $2 card long-term. But again, if I could get some cheap, might as well. Alright, last card we're going to look at here in white is Secure the Waste. It's a rare instant, white and X. Put X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens onto the battlefield. I can't tell you how much I love this card and I want to play with it. Right now it's a $4 card. In the short term, I think it's going to be a $3 or $4 card. I could see it get a little bit beyond that, maybe, but it really needs the right deck, and the right deck is probably a control deck. And there's a lot of cards that suggest that blue-white might be back to a thing again with Narset and Anticipate and some things. But long term, I think this could be an $8 to $10 card. It could fit into Modern or Legacy blue-white control. I would hang on to the foils because this might be a one-of in those decks. Just like Entreat the Angels is like a one-of, I believe, in Miracles deck and Legacy. And the thing about that is that Entreat has to be played the turn that you Miracle it, right? But this can be, it's an instant. It can be played end of turn, and that's exactly what control players want to do. They want to play everything they can on their opponent's turn. So another place I could see this being played, like Tron is not I wouldn't say it's a tier 1 deck necessarily. It's close. It's a close to tier 1 deck in Modern, and I could see this being played in blue-white Tron. Tron right now is being played in green-red, blue-white, blue-green. Let's see. Those are the primary variants, or mono blue. And I could see this in blue-white Tron, because blue-white Tron in the old Modern, which was extended, was a deck. And what did they run? They ran the one that lets you cycle. There was the one that lets you cycle, and when you cycled it, you could pay X and get a bunch of 1/1. I think they were flyers. You could hardcast it and get 4/4 flyers, I believe. But anyway, Blue White Tron back then ran that card. This is vastly superior to that card, in my opinion. So it could be played in Tron. So long term, I see this as actually an $8 to $10 card. I would get a hold of a couple playsets of these. They will probably not be very popular in standard right away, so the price could drop down. You could be able to get them for $1 or $2. So I'll get my playset, or 2 playsets actually. I always have a playset for myself that I keep, and then the cards I get for investment I get beyond my playset. So I would get 1 extra playset or 2 extra playsets if I could get them really cheap. Entreat the Angels. Let me remind you, if this filled the spot of Entreat the Angels, the Entreat the Angels is a $10 card. It's played as basically a one of in Legacy, in one deck in Legacy, and that made it a $10 card. The foil Entreat the Angels is $50. It's a one of in a one Legacy deck basically. So if this could find a place in Modern, even as a one of, or Legacy as a one of, then you're looking at, if you could get a full version of this pretty cheap, then I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to hit $50, because the print run on this is going to be higher than Entreat, which was in, I think, Innistrad block. But anyway, it might not hit $50, but if it's a $30, $35 full, hey, there's no reason not to get one and sit on it, or a playset if you can and sit on it. So anyway, that's been the white cards. I hope been helpful in some way, and give me a like, and if you're watching, I appreciate your subs. This has been Rob with MTG Investor. Peace out and happy trading.